Good evening and welcome to the Cybersecurity and Cryptocurrency Podcast. I'm your host, Eric English. I want to start off by thanking our sponsors, Southern Graphics T-Shirt Company, for all your T-shirt needs. If you need some business shirts, or you need some polos made for your business, or you need some jerseys for your team made with numbers and names on the back, anything like that, Southern Graphics T-Shirt Company can do that for you. They've also got some really funny pre-made shirts on their website that are hilarious. So if you're in the market for any new kind of T-shirts and want something made for your business or your team, check them out. Their website is southerngraphicst-shirtco.com. Again, it's southerngraphicst-shirtco.com. If you want to follow me on Twitter, I'm at eEnglish34 on Twitter, at eEnglish34 if you want to follow me. So today I've got a lot of news with cybersecurity more than anything. I do want to talk about our Office 365 saga that we've been going through and what we're doing to mitigate that moving forward. And also want to talk about some recent vulnerabilities that came out today as well. So to kick things off here, there's a new Apache struts vulnerability. If you recall, our lovely friends at Equifax got hacked with the Apache struts vulnerability. And apparently there's now a new Apache struts vulnerability that is critical. And so they're recommending that everybody go and patch that right now. The other one on the list of criticals was Ghostscript, which is used by Adobe for their PDFs and whatnot. Adobe has released fixes and patches for this, so update all of your Adobe products as well. There's also a new AirMail exploit. So if you have a Mac computer and you use AirMail, an attacker can basically steal your emails and file attachments without you even knowing. So, pretty scary stuff there. So if you get a Mac, look at patching that, or just don't use AirMail altogether. But, ultimately up to you what you want to do. But I'd recommend just not using it. The last kind of quick news update stuff. There was a Canadian telecom provider that was affected by an IP relay vulnerability. And essentially this allowed the hackers to intercept data. And they were able to intercept data on this ISP's, all of their customers and customer data. Everything about their customers was essentially intercepted by these hackers. So that's a pretty big breach in the grand scheme of things. And if you live in Canada and you use this telecom provider, I'm trying to get the name here. Actually, it looks like it's multiple Canadian telecom providers. Let's see if I can get their names for you. I can't find it here right off the bat. But if you live in Canada and you've got a cell phone or you've got internet through one of these carriers or providers, now's the time to contact them and see what they're doing to protect you. Hopefully they're going to offer some sort of identity protection. The vulnerabilities were found by a security researcher. So the issue there is, the security researchers found it, yes, and that's great. The problem is you don't know how long this has been a vulnerability, and you don't know how long you don't know if it's been exploited by other people other than these security researchers. So it's great that they found it, but how long has this been going on? I don't know. So that's kind of the scary part. But anyway, check out that article if you've got anything to do with Canadian telecom companies. Check that out. So I want to jump into our Office 365 saga that we've been dealing with. It's been an ongoing thing. We had some calls with Microsoft, and our initial concerns were that emails from tenant to tenant, so Microsoft Office 365 customer to another, would not go out over the internet and therefore would bypass our spam filters. Microsoft has resolved that. So tenant-to-tenant emails do go out over the internet, so they can now be filtered by your spam filter. So that's good. The other vulnerability that we discovered was the addresses that Microsoft assigns automatically when you sign up for Office 365 in the cloud. The addresses that they give you are your domain name .onmicrosoft.com. And these are required and cannot be turned off. So that's kind of the issue is, these onmicrosoft.com email addresses, right? And the reason that's an issue, we don't control onmicrosoft.com. That's controlled by Microsoft, right? So the mail records, the MX records for onmicrosoft.com go to Microsoft Office 365 servers. Why is that an issue? Well, if I send an email to my onmicrosoft.com address, it goes straight to Office 365, bypasses our spam filter, and gets delivered to my mailbox. We saw some attackers doing this, sending several types of phishing emails to our employees, and they were basically getting right around any and all spam filtering capabilities that we have, and were almost successful in phishing us. And luckily, so far the employees that have gotten these emails have been at least on their game, and they reported it to us. And I was griping at our spam filtering company thinking it was their fault, but come to find out, no, it's not their fault. They were bypassing them by sending it to those onmicrosoft.com addresses. So what we've done to mitigate that, couple of things. We created some new mail flow rules in Office 365 that say basically anything that is sent from outside of the organization to any address that includes at onmicrosoft.com or at yourdomain.onmicrosoft.com. And if these emails come through, then quarantine them into this particular mailbox that we've created. So moving forward, anything sent into these addresses is going to be quarantined and sent to this quarantine mailbox that we've set up. Issue there is we have to go and review this quarantine mail and see if there's anything in there that's legitimate that's been caught. But this prevents the phishing emails from going to our employees directly and bypassing our spam filter. So we have set up those mail flow rules in Office 365. We also disabled, I talked about this a couple weeks ago, we disabled PowerShell access to all employees. So not sure why, but by default Microsoft allows the standard accounts that you create to have PowerShell access to the Office 365 API. Well, why is that an issue? Well, these hackers were creating mail rules. When they compromise your business email accounts, they're creating mail flow rules on those particular mailboxes. And these rules would essentially, any email that comes from this person that has this subject line, put it into junk or delete it. So that was the problem, is they'd send out these phishing emails with a particular subject line, and they were also sending the emails from that API, which I thought was rather interesting as well. Or at least it appeared that way. They were either doing that or they were using Outlook Web Access. So we disabled PowerShell access to all users except for admins. We also turned off Outlook Web Access for anybody that does not need it. We also turned off the IMAP and POP3 protocols, so we can't receive emails on those through any type of rudimentary email clients, because we noticed the hackers were setting up these compromised accounts using POP3 and IMAP when they were setting those up. So we turned all that off for everybody. It's now in the default profile, so it's every new account that's created has this turned off. PowerShell, on the other hand, it was not as easy to make sure that it's blocked for everybody all the time, especially on new accounts. So we do have a weekly script that's going to fire off that essentially goes out and pulls all the current accounts that have PowerShell access, puts all those people into a text file, and then runs another command grabbing all the people from the text file and disabling PowerShell access for all those people. And it excludes all of our admins. So this is really going to help us with these business email compromises when they do happen, because they will happen. It's going to happen again, I'm sure. But I do feel a lot better about it, knowing that we've got a plan of action. We've also created a script that will go out to end users' mailboxes and remove emails from their mailbox and put it into a quarantine mailbox. And as part of that script, we updated that script to include the commands to kill all active sessions to Office 365. So the issue we ran into with the latest account compromise is the hacker sent out one email, and 45 minutes later sent out a second email to even more people. So the question came up, why the hell were they able to send out a second email 45 minutes later, even after we reset the password? Well, that's because they had an active session to that account, and therefore they still had access, and they were able to send out a second email. And they did it with a totally different subject line and phishing message and all kinds of other stuff. So they were getting pretty tricky, and we've included in this script now to kill all active sessions for a particular user. We also blocked all foreign country logins, so people can't log in from foreign countries. All kinds of stuff that is really going to help us protect our Office 365 environment a lot better. I feel a lot more comfortable with it and confident in it. And, I just hope that other people do the same thing and help protect themselves, because it's scary that there's some built-in vulnerabilities with Office 365 that aren't publicly disclosed. And it's really, really frustrating that you can't find a whole lot of documentation on this. We did call Microsoft, and we had a nice long talk with them about why this was the way it was. and said, hey, can you provide us some documentation for why this is set up that way? And all they had to say was, this is by design. We'll get you some documentation. And they never did. Surprise, surprise. So in the end, what we're trying to get at is make sure you've locked down all these additional features in Office 365. There's also a pretty cool plugin for Office 365 called Cloud App Security, and this allows you to see all kinds of stuff, and you can create rules to alert you on various things, so on and so forth. So I highly recommend that too. You only have to buy licenses for your admins, so you may only need 3 or 4 licenses of this, and it's like $7 or $8 a month per user, so it's really inexpensive and provides a whole lot more visibility into your Office 365 activity and where users are logging in from, what actions they performed when they logged in from these odd locations. It alerts you on impossible travel and all those kinds of things as well. So highly recommend checking that out if you haven't already. It's called Microsoft Cloud App Security. Make sure you get it for your particular Office 365 setup. If you have a hybrid environment of on-premises server and the cloud, then you need that hybrid license. Or if you just have the cloud-based stuff, you need the cloud license. So make sure you get the right license for your environment. But it provides a ton of great visibility, and you can tie it into your SIM and correlate those kinds of logs as well. So it's good stuff all the way around. But I do feel a lot more comfortable about Office 365 and just making sure that we are as protected as we can be, although it's never going to be perfect, but at least we're limiting the exposure as best we can, limiting the risk. So if you're an Office 365 customer, I'll post some links in the show notes about all this stuff so you can check it out on your own and do this in your environment if you want to and feel like it's necessary. We certainly did, since it was bypassing a lot of our controls. That's why we did all these things. The other obvious one there is to turn on two-factor, but not all companies want to do that because it's a culture change and people might get mad if you turn that on. So, understandable. It's understandable. But speaking of account compromises, last night I was logging into my cell phone carrier's website, and they showed an order for 5 iPhone X's that I did not order. And I called them. Of course, it was after hours, and so I did an online chat with somebody. And they basically said, yep, it's fraud. We're going to deactivate all these numbers. You need to call our fraud department tomorrow, yada, yada, yada. So I called the fraud department today. What I did was I ordered 2 new phones, the Galaxy Note 9 with 2 new phone numbers. And apparently these phone numbers were included in a different order from somebody else for somebody else on a completely different account. And somehow when I got these new lines of service with these new numbers, they, for whatever reason, put that order under my account. So we were thinking it was fraudulent. When we went and looked at the 5 iPhone X's that were ordered and the numbers that were ordered with those, the 2 new lines and new phone numbers that I just ordered were included in that. And so it was a whole big back and forth and rigmarole all kinds of stuff that we had to go through with the carrier to make sure that I wasn't actually hacked. Thankfully, I wasn't. I'd like to thank my lovely friends at Dashlane for creating amazing passwords for me that I have no idea what they are. But if you don't have a password manager solution, I don't know why you don't. It's 2018. The average person has 75 logins to various things that they have to get into, either for work or for personal, for websites, social media, bank accounts, retirement accounts, healthcare, email accounts, you name it, right? There's tons of different logins that you have to have. The issue is that human nature is, hey, I have to remember all these dang passwords. I'm going to have to either write them down or I'm just going to use the same password on everything. So when your password gets leaked in one of these breaches, then hackers can gain access to everything that you could because you used the same password everywhere. So Dashlane is a password manager that allows you to generate random passwords. You can make them as long as you want. You can enforce complexity. You can do symbols, numbers, uppercase, lowercase, all that good stuff. No dictionary words, all that kind of fun stuff. And really helps protect you. I have a separate account, a separate password for every online account that I have. I never reuse the same one. So that is great, and it's all thanks to my friends at Dashlane for helping me get to that point. It's not easy, for sure. It's not easy to keep up with that many passwords, but all I have to keep up with is my Dashlane password. And for that, I have an extremely long passphrase that I use. And it's got all kinds of other weird stuff in it too. But that's kind of the keys to my kingdom, and I want to make sure that nobody can get into that. But at least all I have to remember is that passphrase. And it's extremely long, extremely difficult, doesn't make any sense. But I can at least remember it. And so that's the key. And once I get into my Dashlane account, it's got two-factor on there, so it prompts for two-factor. I get in, and then I can get to all my passwords and stuff. Just really cool. It also autofills forms on websites and all that kind of stuff. So if you don't have a password manager yet, I highly recommend getting one. I don't care what you use. I like Dashlane. It's pretty awesome stuff. Dashlane also has a built-in VPN, which can protect you if you're on public Wi-Fi or at an airport Wi-Fi, whatever it is, hotel Wi-Fi. You get on that VPN, it protects your browsing, protects your traffic for everything that you're doing while on that public Wi-Fi. So that's also another perk. And it's like $50 or $60 a year. It's not anything extraordinary to pay for. And it's worth its weight in gold. It's well worth it. And just helps you stay safe online more than anything. You can also store things in there like your identifications, your credit card accounts, bank accounts, things like that. So when you're filling out you're doing some, paying some bills online, for example, it would autofill your credit card number or your bank account number for you. You don't have to type it in all the time, or go look it up and type it in. So it's got a lot of really cool features that just makes life a lot easier and keeps you a lot more secure while you're online. So check out Dashlane, dashlane.com. Another really good one is LastPass. Another one is 1Password. So there's also KeePass, which is, I think it's free still. KeePass is just a local password manager, and so you can't exactly sync it with multiple devices like you could with LastPass, 1Password, or Dashlane. Dashlane syncs with all your devices and all that kind of good stuff too. So get a password manager if you don't have one. It will save you from getting hacked. These breaches happen all the time. We report on them here. If that doesn't scare you enough, I don't know what will. So make sure you've got a unique password everywhere you go. So that's really all I wanted to touch on today. I did see in cryptocurrency news, I saw the specs, the spec sheets for the new NVIDIA 2080 Ti, and it's got quite a bit more what they call CUDA cores, or processing cores, and I have not seen the hash rate with a miner yet, but I'm really interested to see what the hash rate is going to be on these. They're going for about $1,000, almost $800 to $1,000 for these guys, so it's rather expensive. But if you can double your hash rate, it might be worth it. Yet to be seen though. But it does have just about double the amount of CUDA cores. And they say it's 40% faster than the previous year's 1080s. So if you're into mining, check out those 2080s and see if they're right for you and your rig. If nothing else, the 10 series is probably going to go on clearance, and so you can probably get some pretty kick-ass deals on some 10s as well, and they're pretty damn fast still. So go check that stuff out. That's all I got for today, folks. Again, I want to thank our sponsor, Southern Graphics T-Shirt Company. Their website is southerngraphicstshirtco.com. You can follow me on Twitter. I am at eEnglish34. Again, it's at eEnglish34. Thanks for listening, and we'll talk tomorrow.